Hey guys, welcome back. This is MiketheWombat here, giving you the third episode of my Entrepreneurship 101 series. This is the Business Model Canvas episode, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So first off, let's talk about what is a business model canvas. A business model canvas is an organizational tool to help realize the economic value of a business. So all this is a sheet of paper that we'll actually look at in a few minutes. And this is going to allow us to put down our ideas in a very organized fashion, going from different categories and then summing it up into one sheet of paper. Another thing about the business model canvas is that it shows the mechanism by which profit is generated. So along with the organizational factor, the mechanism, like how you actually create value within your company, is going to show on this piece of paper. Now, the creator of this was a guy named Alexander Osterwalder. I think I said that right. And he authored a book entitled Business Model Ontology. And this is the basis from which the business model canvas comes from. Now, let's take a look at the actual business model canvas. Okay guys, so here we are. This is the business model canvas in my Excel workbook. And as you can see at the bottom right here, I also have a lean canvas and the lean canvas example. We'll get into the lean canvases in the next episode, but right now I just want to show you the basis of the business model canvas. So first off, we have our key partners, and these key partners, as we can see here, when we click on when we do a overlay on this, it wants to know, and this is where we put who our key partners are, who our key suppliers are, what key resources are we acquiring from the partners. But notice that we also have a key resources section here, and this is going to be the actual resources that we'll be needing in order to make our business run. So back to the key partners is the reasons for having key partners is to streamline, and it says optimize economy, but that's essentially streamlining, and the reduction of risk and uncertainty. So if you have people that you trust and you're able to work with them on a case-by-case basis or regularly, then you can build that rapport with them, and it will be a dedicated partnership. And the acquisition of particular resources and activities. So you'll be able to know exactly what you're able to get from your partners at any given time because you have that relationship with them. And so you're going to put all your key partners right there, right in this little area. Next over here we have key activities, and the key activities include production, problem solving, and the platform and network that you'll be using. So if it's an online business, you're going to have to put your activities of your online business on there. If it's the activity of a shop, like a brick and mortar building, you're going to have to put your activities right there. And it's going to include what are the key activities, and what does your business require? Like, what do you have to do in your business for it to work? That's essentially your key activities. And as we discussed before, the key resources, you're going to have different types of resources depending on your actual business that you're working with. You might have physical resources like actual products, and they may be built. You may have to build them yourself in order to ship them. You're also going to have your intellectual brand and property. So whatever the name of your business is and anything else that is just you and only you that's working on it, you're going to have those resources listed there. And any human or financial resources. So that's going to include like your employees, anyone you're working with that you are actually paying, not necessarily your partners that you're buying stuff from them or you're using them to outsource, but these are going to be like your human resources. So your employees, your managers, anyone you're going to use on a day-to-day basis is going to go in that key resource section right there. The next is the financial resource. You're going to want to have your starting capital if you're starting business, and you're also going to want to have your cash flows and everything else in this key resource section. But most of it is just going to be the lump sum of money you're going to have for your financial basis right there. Also, if you have any lines of credit, you're going to want to put it right there in the key resource section. And let's get to value proposition. This is the first one you should actually start with because it's the most important, and it actually is the reason for why you're starting the business. So, and I'll go into like the order in which you should complete these in a minute, but this is the most important one. So with the value proposition, this is what value do you deliver to the customer? Now, it may not be the same value that you get from running your business, but your value should be, the joy and happiness you get in supplying customers with the product or service that they need and want. And you're going to list the characteristics of your value. So if it's a innovation, if it's something new that no one's ever done before, you're going to want to list that here. If it's any type of, basically the definition of what you're doing is going to go in this value proposition section. That's going to say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and this is my business. I am looking to create this type of value. I want to be able to buy or sell or trade this product or service, and this is how I'll do it. I'll do it by number 1, number 2, number 3, and I'll list it all right here in the value proposition section. Next, we have the customer relationship section. Now, this is going to be the different ways I will interact with the customer. For instance, I'm not going to be able to interact with them face-to-face if I'm an online store. I can interact with them through email or customer service assistance or by phone, but as an online business, I will not be able to converse with them generally face-to-face. I mean, you could come up with a Skype session for customer service or video system for customer service, and if you ever need to outsource that outsourcing business will be your key partner. So keep that in mind. Just, you have to think of how it all ties in together. So in this customer relationship, if you're a brick and mortar facility, a lot of your customer relationships are going to be built face-to-face at the desk, right when you walk in, or if you have greeters or something like that. That's going to be your primary way of communicating with the customer and how the relationship is going to go. So you can decide how you want your business to be run on a personal level as far as the employee interacting with the customer. And that's going to be very important down the line when you want to have those loyal customers coming back to you again and again for the products and services that you need. The next section is the customer segments. Now, we'll get into this in another video, but just to give a general idea of what we're talking about here, this is going to be the section in which you specifically target your customers. Now, the type of customer that you're trying to get is solely dependent upon what you're selling and who you're trying to sell it to. So if say I'm let's say I own a pet grooming business. With this pet grooming business, I'm not going to target people that do not own pets. That's a waste of my marketing, that's a waste of my money, and that's a waste of my time. What I would like to do is I would like to target people that have pets. So I'm going to have my customer segment, and it's going to say pet owners or businesses that deal with pets or something to that nature. Or perhaps if you're trying to expand for other animals, you could say I want to target also zoos or shelters, animal shelters. So you just have to think of these things and think of the biggest but most specific target segments you can. And this is going to be your consumer segments. And as I said, I'll get deeper in depth on how you should go about finding your customer segment. That'll be a completely separate video. So the next section that we'll talk about is the channels. Now, these channels are the ways in which you interact with your customer base, and that can vary as far as what type of business you have, as always. However, there are some primary ways that businesses generally send information to their customers. Commonly nowadays, it's going to be Facebook as well as other social media sites. And we'll go into detail about that in other videos. But that's essentially how you channel and funnel your information in order to get the specific type of customers that you want coming to your store or your website store. All right, the next area is going to be the cost structure. Now in this, it's going to be very, very basic. You're just going to want to have what you're selling multiplied by the cost of each item or service multiplied by the number of items or services that you're going to sell in a specific time period. Now, when you do that, you're going to have to go to a different page, and you're going to have to kind of work it out yourself and see if you're able to maximize or even get a profit. Because a lot of the times in small businesses, you're not going to have the starting capital or the amount of leverage to buy enough product in order to sell it at a higher price that people will actually buy it for. So that's a lot of the reason why small businesses tend to go down, is because they can't meet their quota of profit in order to stay afloat. So you're going to need to figure out your cost and what you're going to sell the product for, and then see what the difference is and see if that difference will pay for the external costs. Not necessarily the cost of the product, but the cost of you running your store and perhaps giving yourself and your employees salaries and paying your house or any of your bills. And that's what the cost structure is going to do. And as you can see here, you have fixed cost and variable cost. In this example, I do not agree that utilities are fixed costs, because fixed costs are things that, or costs that are generated and have a steady, and they're always the same. They're steady and they're always the same. So they're going to be paid for month to month or year to year, and it's going to be the same price every time. Very rarely will that price change. So for instance, rent. Rent is always the same price unless extenuating circumstances, and you're going to be paying that every month. Utilities will vary depending upon the usage, and so that's why that's going to go in your variable cost. And you're going to add all these costs together, and you're going to look at your economies of scale, and that is essentially how you're going to grow. But we'll get into that in a future video. But right now, I just want you to know that in this cost structure section, you're trying to see how much, just start off with a unit. Like, how much can you buy a unit for, and how much can you sell that unit for? And if you can get that nice profit margin, it'll depend on the industry that you're in. But if you can get it, then that's good. And lastly, we'll get into our revenue streams. Now, these revenue streams are the actual profits that we're trying to get to. So say you have different products and different services that you provide, because most of the time you're not just going to provide one product or service. If you are and you're doing well, great. But a lot of the times you're going to need multiple sources of income in order to supplement your cost. So with this in mind, you're going to add up all your revenue streams, and revenue is the actual cut and dry piece that you made. It's the profit. It's what your goal is to do with the business. So you're going to add all those together and show what money is coming from what product or service. And I believe that's going to come from multiple sources. So say you're hosting a website, and you want to sell advertisements on your website, that is a revenue stream. If you want to, if someone's paying you money to have their business cards on your front desk, that's a revenue stream. And if if a drink manufacturer wants to store their their drinks in your facility, that's a revenue stream. So these are all things you have to think about and list them in order for you to get a full understanding of your business. And once you do all of this right here, all of this, and get it all nice and neat and figured out, then you have the basis for starting your business. And this is the business model canvas, but we also have the lean model canvas, which is more of a problem solution type of business. It's more for like things that don't exist yet. After looking at all these sections of the business model canvas, we can just group it all together, and that paints you the best picture of your actual business. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and click the post notification bell button to see when the next videos are up. If you have any questions or concerns about the business model canvas, leave a comment below and I will get to you shortly. Thanks for watching.